sunshine and the heat and, Lord, the occasional rain that we're getting. Lord, we thank you for the season that we're in. God, I ask you, Lord, just continue to let the city just thrive during this season as we close out the year in a few months. God, I ask you, Lord, just to be with the city as you have been. And God, just thank you again for the people that protect our city and just work on a day-to-day basis to make it beautiful and just make it go. And God, I ask you, Lord, just to be with the people tonight, maybe hurting or sick. God, be with our people in the community that are going through some hard times. And God, I ask you, Lord, just be with those people right now. And be with the meeting tonight and let the things to be discussed be for the benefit of the city and the people that's in it. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as you continue to review the agenda, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly. Here. Mizell. Preston.
Here.
King. Here. Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Mitchell.
Here, and we have a quorum with Councilwoman Mizell is absent tonight. Okay, take another few seconds here to look at the agenda. It is pretty standard with the exception that we will have suspend the meeting for a public hearing on property rezoning and consider the rezoning ordinance. Other than that, pretty standard agenda. Okay, next item on the agenda is the standard approval of the minutes of the June the 6th council meeting. Council members have received the minutes. They've had an opportunity to review them. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? If there are none, let the record show that the minutes were accepted by unanimous consent of those present. And we start today with our department reports, and the police department's up first.
Okay. So everything's going well with the police department. Still dealing with the one on-the-job injury, which is Mike Peppers. Haven't got any updates on him. It's been several weeks, and so we're expecting something here soon. Still on course our budget. Got one position, police officer position left to fill, which is going to be Kevin Perry's slot. We're still taking applications and trying to sift through that. Everything else in good working order. Equipment's in good working order, and training for the 2023 year continues. Only issues and concerns going to be Liberty Day. You'll see several officers out walking through the crowds, being seen. Things of that nature. We're going to try and rotate people 2 or 3 at a time. Everybody stays cool and hydrated and all that, so give everybody a chance to rest their feet, and then so you won't see just a big gaggle of us, but we'll definitely be out and about. Besides that, still taking applications for officer. That's about it.
Is that what they call a flock of police officers
right.
as a gaggle?
They call that an FOP meeting.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief?
I hear we had Officer Cookie qualified for the.
Yes, he did.
Marathon.
I should have mentioned that. I'm sorry. Yes, Officer Cookie went, and I can't tell you where he went and qualified, what state it was in. I think it was Ohio, but he qualified for the Boston Marathon, and we are 99% positive that he's going to go run the Boston Marathon. And so in doing so, we're going to put him in a lot of Columbiana Police Department garb. And so he should have t-shirts with our name on it, ball cap with our name on it. We can find socks with our name on it. We can put him in some socks with our name on it. But he's going to go represent the department in Boston. So that's
awesome.
that's
great.
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
I didn't know if y'all know, but Officer Cranston helps coach the cross-country team. So you'll see him out running with the kids and things like that. He also is one of our SROs in the school. Most of you know him as Officer Cookie. But anyway, yeah, we're excited and we're proud.
Is that a fall race?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's pretty neat.
Oh, and he will be representing us in the Liberty Day K5.
5K.
Yeah, 5K, that's right, which he better win.
Are you joining him?
No. Somebody's got to direct traffic.
All right. Any other questions for the chief? Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Admin.
Everything is looking good in admin, no safety issues, budget is looking good, fully staffed, training's up to date. And at the bottom, the first section is the general fund, the bottom section is all other funds, and we are looking good with our budget.
Any questions for the clerk?
That's crazy how much this season's almost over for budget.
Yeah.
3 more months, 2 more months.
Yeah, I should have already put out my little notice about planning for the next budget. I haven't done that yet, so, because we usually start that right after the 4th. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
Okay. Municipal Court, the judge is here tonight.
Okay, let's see, we had one change. In the spirit of camaraderie from the city, I'm going to carbo load for our runner for the Boston Marathon to assist him in that endeavor.
Good for you.
That's all I can do.
Yeah.
You're gonna do the loading?
I'm gonna do the loading. I mean, you gotta go with your strength, man.
There you go.
I mean, that's 26 miles, 385 yards, by the way. That's 26 miles, 385 yards. That's a long way. Anyway, everything is good. Everything's running along well. We had a big court Tuesday week ago. We got another court coming up next week. June the 27th. It'll be a smaller court because it's trial day. The driving school is doing well. We're having, particularly the younger folks that are tickled to death to do that. It's a few dollars more to do driving school than it is to pay the ticket, but if they complete the driving school, they get to keep the book. We've got somebody certified to do it, and if they don't if they get in no more trouble prior to finishing the driving school, we remove that ticket from their record, which, at the state of insurance right now, the parents are tickled to death to do that. Really don't have anything else much. The kiosks are working well. We're pretty much collecting our fine. We have a series of people that we've always had. We have had a series of, it seems like recently, a tremendous number of, a larger number of shoplifting cases than in the past. And they are still shoplifting from earthly treasures, which is a strange thing to me. Why do you shoplift from earthly treasures? That stuff you used to begin with. You would think you would shoplift from a new store, but nevertheless, they shoplift from earthly treasures. And so we're dealing with a number of those cases, and they got video, and Chief's done a good job of rounding them up. Had one guy had two in 1 week, or 3 in 1 week. 3 in 1 week, earthly treasures. Anyway, we're dealing with that, but things are running along nicely. We've got clerks have got some training. I think in September. I've got some in November. That's upcoming, but everything's running along nicely. Our next course, like I say, will be Tuesday, a week from today, and everything's okay. We're within budget at this point.
Any questions for the judge? Thanks, sir.
So I'm gonna start my carbo loading. I wouldn't want him to run out of energy halfway through.
Okay. Public Works.
Everything's running pretty smooth in the street and sanitation department. Everything, we're staying busy, cutting grass and picking brush up and getting ready for Liberty Day and stuff, helping Allie out all we can and stuff with it. Still got a few positions open and everything. The last tractor that we ordered will be here Thursday. So that will be the last big item that's on my budget that we had been waiting on.
What kind of piece of equipment is
It's
it?
one for the road right of ways, the cut right of ways on the road and everything. Supposed to be here sometime Thursday. Called me today.
Will it have an arm on it like the other one, or just?
It'll have 2 flail mowers on it, one on the back and one on the side, just like the county's got.
Okay.
Be the same size tractor, just like the one we got down there now and everything. It's supposed to be here Thursday sometimes. Other than that, everything is running fine. Some of the men are working over this week trying to get everything spruced up and try to stay ahead of the rain as much as they can with the grass and everything. But other than that, everything is running good.
I was gonna walk out there today. Have you guys started constructing our stage yet at Gold Mill Square? or-
They don't have to do that
Yeah,
one,
they
so.
won't.
Oh, they don't?
Right, so we rent those stages, so.
I knew
we'll bring
that.
them in Friday. So,
I knew that, thank you. Any questions for Alan?
Have you hired anybody recently, Al? No.
We had one interview probably a month and a half ago. It's what for him out here, they'd eat him up. He just wasn't made for it.
Understood.
Okay. All right, no more questions? Board reports, planning commission?
Yes, we met last week. We had 2 applications for rezoning. The first one was 21421 Highway 25, that's the old wood yard. That application was denied. The second was property located on Highway 25 bypass that Zach Kellis recently purchased. That was approved. That will come to council on the July 18th meeting for another public hearing and vote.
Just out of curiosity, why was the wood yard denied?
There was a lot of input from the public and the council,
The commission.
the commission just voted it down at this
Yeah,
time.
well, that's what those meetings
Yeah.
are for.
That's good. Well, is that the one where it's half residential, half
It's-
commercial,
it's-
industrial or something?
It's zoned residential now because it had not been a wood yard for so long, it
Mhm.
reverted back to its original zoning, which is R1. So, and he wanted to move it to, I think B2.
Did that include the property where those homes were right going towards, it did not?
Okay. Any questions for the planning commission? Did the recreation?
They'll meet next month.
Next month.
Yeah.
And the water board?
Just had a general business meeting, get ready to work on the budget and stuff, start to get all that lined up.
Okay.
Oh, that's one thing, while we're talking about what, we did inherit a truck from the water department, they transferred over to us and everything. Where they fixed to buy a new one and they had one to keep putting it in auction, it's got a few miles on it, but it served the purpose. Cause I had one running around in his own truck following the tractor around.
Okay. There was a concern expressed about the water board. I think I brought you into that, and Alan. Do y'all discuss that at
Yeah.
your meetings
We-
and
we
stuff, how you could handle
discussed
it?
and what, I understand what we seen on the film still, we didn't see nothing that was gone.
Yeah, and that's true. The video, the security video, there's no audio to it, and it looked perfectly fine, pleasant. In fact, they were smiling and laughing. But there was allegedly a phone call before that, which we had no recording of, that was unpleasant. So it's still an opportunity, I think, to discuss customer service, how we could, and how you deal with that if you have an irate customer, et cetera. So anyway, just my 2 cents worth. Any other questions for the water board? All right, we've talked about the public purpose doctrine in the past, but I asked Charlene to put this on the agenda because of a recent request that was brought to my attention by Dreammakers as well as the American Legion. Now, full disclosure, after this discussion, if we have any voting or anything like that, I am a member of the American Legion, so I would certainly recuse myself from any voting on an issue regarding them. But let me just kind of sort of rehash this. Bottom line, first line is Section 94 of the Constitution, which is what's commonly referred to as a public purpose doctrine. Basically says the city can't provide any funds, credit, or anything of value to private individuals or any private entity, including, nonprofit corporations and things like that. So But the courts have basically said the determination of what's a public purpose is left up to the city council in our case, whatever the governing body has. And there's a little thing in there about some of the Supreme Court's comments about there. But in general, the test is there a public benefit of a reasonably general character in order for us to say that it's a public benefit. And even though Section 94 does not require that the council pass a resolution to say this is a public benefit, this is a public benefit, and we're going to provide something of value to these organizations, for example, the use of facilities like the rec center, et cetera. You do have to have a record of the council or the governing body's finding of fact as to why, and you basically just record that in the minutes of the meeting. So that's those are the excerpts set up there. So we have always provided free of charge rec center usage to the Boy Scouts. And as far as the public purpose, the Scouts are obviously involved in a lot of community service projects. Recently there was a Eagle Scout project where they did an excellent job with a new planter and sign at the recreation center, new flagpole. Great job there. Most recently, there's an Eagle Scout project, and you may have seen the bike racks that they've already installed in town. You know, they do things like presentation of the colors at Liberty Day and things of that nature. So because of those public services that they provide to the city, we in the past, and me personally, would continue to support in the future, saying that the Scouts function serves a general public purpose, and they can continue to, it would be my opinion, they should be allowed to continue to use the rec center. Dreammakers Dance. Dreammakers, and I'll ask the educator in the room, I remembered the term, so I don't have to ask. They have after-school enrichment programs, and Dreammakers has been deemed one of those after-school enrichment programs. And they used to use a portable building behind the elementary school. And the great thing is they have kids from all ages, and so they'll bring them from the middle school, ones that are obviously at the elementary school, and then some of them in high school, and so they get bus transportation to those places. And in some respects, it provides after-school care for some of those kids. We ask Dreammakers that they perform at Cowboy Day, Liberty Day, Christmas Parade, things of that nature. And I also asked them last year that because families have to pay a fee for the instruction, that there might be some children that could not afford that, and so they offer scholarships, and I was told they were given a couple of scholarships this past year. Again, making it open to a broader section of the public. So the facility that they were using at the elementary school is now being used for another purpose. I don't recall what it is.
They were using the gym, and then when COVID hit, they had to move.
Right. But they're redoing or something the gym, and they don't want them in the gym or something like that, as I recall.
They redid the gym last year, is
Yeah,
that what
we
you
had a
said?
new floor, so I
Yeah.
assume, but you would think, I mean, if we said no, I think they would find somewhere to go.
Right.
Which, you know, being honest, at the school would be better, so you don't have to transport except to the school.
Right, but apparently they've been told by the school that they cannot use the facilities at the school again. So, to that end, I am not aware of any significant disruption that it's caused as far as renting the rec center because that usually is done on weekends for parties and things, occasionally during the week. And me personally, I would continue to support, allow them to use the rec center.
It's been a great program in town for girls that want to do that kind of stuff.
Right. So the last one is a little more tricky, and that's the American Legion. The American Legion has been given space in the annex building. And I'm sorry, Alan, but the building's kind of a mess, and also the space is quite small. So they have also been using meeting space at the Senior Center for the American Legion meetings. Now, most Legionnaires, myself included, are eligible to use the Senior Center, but not all. Some are recently separated or retired veterans that may not qualify otherwise to use the Senior Center. Again, I'm going to give you my opinion. If we vote on this, I'm going to abstain from that. But, the U.S. government makes the Department of Veterans Affairs it's a cabinet level department. We have a Department of Veterans Affairs in the state of Alabama. We don't obviously have such thing in the city. So by default, American Legion kind of is our local veterans agency. And so they do a lot of stuff to serve the broader veteran population, not necessarily just their own membership. It is a membership type organization. And so they came to me and asked me about the rec center, but now we're getting the rec center kind of filled up. So I'd like to find them some space. I think there may be some space in your annex building that we might be able to clean out that's larger, and they could enter from Mildred Street instead of going through the other side. That's a potential possibility. I have some concerns about the Senior Center because there are numerous activities for the seniors, and the Senior Center, although the city funds most of that, the Senior Center does get, when the building was built, the land was provided by the county. The building was built mostly with a federal grant. We have to operate under the rules of M4A, the Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging. M4A does provide us some funding, even though the majority of the operational funding comes from the city. We also get some funding grant from the county. But all of that is intended for the purpose of supporting senior citizens. And so I have some concerns, me personally, about obligating that facility going forward. So I'd like to find a space for the American Legion. Don't know yet what that is. So looking at some options. But there's two. They meet on the second Monday of every month, and there's two meetings coming up that they need a place to meet. So the second Monday of July, I would like to go ahead and suggest we give them, make a commitment to them that they can use the rec center on that particular evening. And then on the second Monday in August, they have a guest coming in from the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, and they're really trying to open it up to the larger veteran population in the area. And I would like to allow them to use for that particular one-time event the Grand Hall. And then beyond August, I would like to work on finding them some sort of option if this body deems that a public purpose. So I'll just open it up for discussion now.
I don't know that I don't know that maybe fits the definition of public purpose, but you always hear about how these veterans need, I mean, you always hear about, you know, you can't even get into the VA and everything's so difficult for them. And so that type of thing makes it more like a public service or whatever. So I'm with you. I think we need to find some place for them to stay, wherever that is.
I'm okay if it's at the rec building.
Yeah, I mean,
What
long as
time
it's-
does it meet?
yeah.
I think it's at 5 o'clock, but I'm not sure, maybe 6.
That's 6,
So,
the second Monday of every month, right? Yes.
I'd hate for us to make it difficult for them.
Yeah, I'd
Because
say.
some of those guys and ladies, I assume there's ladies involved too. That may be the best thing, ladies in that month.
There is a ladies auxiliary
Yeah.
to the American Legion.
Yep.
And there are female members of the American Legion, so, you know, I should say to be absolutely correct, there's a spouses
Yeah.
auxiliary for the American Legion.
Yeah.
do the Dream Makers go on Monday?
I should have come prepared with those dates or date, but I don't remember.
I mean, it just seems like they dance every day, but I know they don't.
Yeah, they're not.
Well, we could just let them know that Mondays, that second Monday is not available. I mean, it's not what we're gonna do.
So I'll look into that, and but the main point of this discussion is if we wanted to go ahead and as a council, if somebody wanted to make a motion that we could vote on each one of them independently or all of them collectively and say that this council has determined that it meets public purpose for them to meet in public facilities.
I make a motion that we allow all three of these to meet the purpose of public, whatever it's called.
Public purpose.
Public, yeah. Anyway, I make that motion.
Okay, would you call the roll, because I'm going to
Okay, Councilmember Lilly?
Yes.
Rustin?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
abstain.
Key?
Yes.
And Phillips?
Yes.
Okay, so minutes will reflect that the council considered and made a public purpose determination, and we will continue to use the rec center facilities for the Boy Scouts and Dream Makers, and we're going to look for options for the American Legion, with the exception that those two events over the next 2 months. Okay, so now it's time to suspend this meeting and open the public hearing on the rezoning request. So proper notice of this regular scheduled meeting of the Columbiana City Council was given in advance of this meeting, and the notice remained posted throughout the course of this meeting. So now I'll entertain a motion to suspend this regularly scheduled council meeting in order to have a public hearing.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. So all in favor to suspend the regular meeting in order to hold a public hearing? This must be by unanimous consent, so why don't you call the roll?
Councilmember Lilly? Yes. Rustin?
Yes.
Key?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
Yes. Okay. So I now call to order the public hearing to hear from anyone speaking for or against the rezoning, excuse me, of tax parcel 217-262-001-059.000. And the rezoning is to rezone it from B1 to B2. This property is located at 21066 Highway 25. And so this is the aerial view from the GIS. This is the property in question. This is the CDS, and this is Highway 25. Now, you know, this entire parcel, even though we're using this address, is, I assume, the parcel that's being considered. Is that correct? I don't have Dale here tonight.
That is the address that we have
I,
listed.
I don't think it's gonna be split zone. I think there was a discussion about it's currently B1, we just wanna change this parcel to B2. Even though there are technically two addresses on this parcel. So it's not necessarily the address we're looking at the parcel. All right, so having asked that question, I will tell the council members to please note that this public hearing is not a time for debate. It's only to hear from those speaking for or against this rezoning request. There will be an opportunity for discussion once we, during the regular council meeting immediately following this public hearing. So now, would anyone like to speak in favor of this rezoning request?
We're all in favor.
Okay.
We own a shop.
We are going to have to do the sign-in, I forgot
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
And so
So
we'll need to get
everybody,
you.
we'll send this out if everybody will just sign in, please.
And so we will all need you to sign in so that we can identify who was in favor of the request.
B1 to B2, that's just making it to where they can do more work on cars.
Yeah, heavy automotive work, I guess.
Okay, that's
So like
To the
B,
public, correct? That's the
Right.
only difference.
Repair work.
yeah, so like B1 is would be auto repair, but B2 is like body shop, it's just heavier,
Okay.
repairs.
Yeah, we specifically want it just to be the heavy
Mm.
mechanic work, so like transmissions, things that
Right.
like run on cars, for the pilot, for oil changes.
So right now, I think you're selling tires and what
Car
else?
dealership.
It's a car dealership.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. And so now you're gonna do the repair work on the.
Yeah, because, yeah, we have the space, and, the technicians in-house to
Okay.
be able to, provide a service to the public,
Okay.
not just our own vehicles.
Is there anyone else in favor of, want to speak in favor of the rezone? Okay, would anyone like to speak against this rezoning request? Okay, if there's no other comments, public comments, at this time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning the public hearing? And I think we can signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So unanimous consent to adjourn the public hearing. All right. So I'm gonna call back to order the regular council meeting and consider ordinance 06-2302 for rezoning the property from B1 to B2. Is there a need for any additional discussion?
No, I'd be interested to hear about your business though. Where'd you come from and
Yeah.
just out of curiosity?
So, I've been in the automotive industry since I was 18.
Okay.
I'm 38 years old now, and, started in California, basically washing cars.
Yeah.
Moved up to selling cars, did the finance manager. When I moved to Alabama, my first job was at Tamron Honda in Hoover. So they gave me the opportunity to basically start the process all over. And went from, again, being a salesperson to running my own division at Tamron Honda. And spent about 8 years there. Went across the street to Ben Nissan and, did the same thing, sales manager. Then got the opportunity to run Susan Shine in Pelham. Did that for about 4 years, and then the opportunity came to, basically get with the people that I was already working with, which is, my family who was working in the shop, me up front selling the vehicles, and, we got the opportunity to buy the building up here in Columbiana, and just took the opportunity, to basically do what I've been doing for somebody else, do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Columbiana's a little bit different than California.
Not much.
Just a little bit. Glad to have you.
Do you live in town too?
Excuse me?
Do y'all live in town?
We live in Calera, but
We can fix that.
now I see that there's new homes being
That's right.
Yes.
built here, so, yeah, we need to shorten up that distance, from,
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you're on a main thoroughfare there, so you
Yeah.
should have a lot of success there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, we've, this is gonna be our first full month, as far as selling cars, and, you know, we've already sold a few to some of the people in the community, and, you know, we're off to a better start than originally, you know, thought, so.
Good.
That's great, I'm glad.
Welcome to
Happy
town.
have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all about keeping it in the family.
Oh, yeah.
We're serious about that.
Until it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, is there any other discussion? Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 06-2302?
I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance 06-2302 to rezone property from B1 to B2.
I'll second it.
Okay, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin.
Yes.
King. Yes. Phillips.
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, so ordinance 06-2302 is adopted by unanimous consent, Mr. President. Is there any other city business anyone would like to bring up?
Yes, 47, the building. What's going on with that? Why is it not down? We had a date where the building, the red building, was supposed to be down. What's going on?
We're waiting on the contractor to come and tear it down. We're waiting on him.
Has he given us an estimate of when he's gonna do it?
The last time I talked to him was a week or so ago, and he said like within a month. So,
Okay. Well, let's see if we need to follow up again, see if we
Okay.
can't narrow it down a little bit more.
Tell them about church.
Yes, because kids are now going in and out.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
It's not a good
I
thing.
agree.
I figured they would have been doing that all along.
Well, probably have been, but
Mhm.
we said we were gonna tear it down, so we ought to tear it down as soon as we can.
Does that include the one on 47 also?
it's the 3 properties that we voted on, so yeah, he'll do, and I don't know which order he'll do them in, he's just gonna go and do all of them.
Maybe we can help him prioritize. if
Yes,
we've-
and say start there, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Any other city business anybody would like to bring up?
I assume it's a local guy
It is.
or girl, lady.
Hmm.
I said local guy or lady.
Local guy, yes.
Person.
Person.
Okay, if there's no other business to discuss. Mayor's report. Last council meeting and also in my mayor's monthly report, I failed to mention as the events coming forward that yesterday we celebrated Juneteenth. It's a federal holiday. The legislature hasn't adopted it as a state holiday, but the governor has for the last 3 years since it was originally passed has proclaimed it a state holiday. We recognize it as a holiday in the city of Columbiana. But for those who don't know, Juneteenth, so there was the Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, which, as you might expect, was not widely accepted in the Confederate States during the Civil War. And so it wasn't really enforced in the Confederate States until after Lee's surrender. But there were pockets of Confederate resistance for several months after the surrender of Lee's forces at Appomattox. And the final surrender of Confederate forces took place in Galveston, Texas. And on June the 19th in 1865, I said 1965 up there, so it was 1865, they issued what is sometimes called the Texas Proclamation, which declared all enslaved people free and emancipated. Now, so sometimes Juneteenth is referred to as Freedom Day. And the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution that actually made the abolition of slavery an official government thing happened in in December of 1865. But Juneteenth is what we recognize as Freedom Day. So I apologize for failing to mention that at the last council meeting as I went through upcoming events, and I also failed to mention it in my monthly video. New holiday, but that's no excuse. Okay, I also wanted to mention that the Columbiana Police Department's got some events going on this summer. The first one is Cops and Cookies in July, where and you may see some of these flyers around town, but each Wednesday in July from 10 to 11 for ages 6 to 11, the police department will be at the library reading to kids. So these are, obviously important, I think, community engagement events by the police department. Additionally, we're going to have something that's always been a lot of fun, is Public Safety Day, and that will be on August 26th. And that's not just the police department, but that's all of our first responders in town, the fire department, our emergency services. In the past, we've had the Life Flight helicopter. Unfortunately, there was a recent tragedy involving that, so don't know if they'll be able to attend. Hopefully they will. I know that's always been a popular portion of it. So a lot of good stuff going on as far as community engagement activities with the police department and our first responders.
I was gonna add, if you don't mind, with the August date, that's not just for kids. We
Right.
encourage the whole community to come out.
Right.
Come out and meet your police department, come out and meet your fire department, adults,
Right.
every kid over there.
And there's snacks, refreshments,
Oh, yeah,
all that
drinks,
stuff.
I think on the ice will be here, plenty of stuff for the kids, but, we want the adults to come too and meet.
Kids of all ages, right?
Kids of all ages, there you go.
What about the Cookies with Cops is on Wednesday, every Wednesday in July?
Yes, ma'am.
At what time?
10 to 11?
Yes. Okay. I did want to bring up, somehow my font got really small here, some citizen issues and concerns that have been brought to my attention that I just wanted to discuss. One is, over a period of time, many times, I've had people complain about the speed limits on the Highway 25 bypass, particularly from the animal clinic going down to Browns, because we have some retirement communities. And there's a lot of truck traffic, and then and the trucks drive really fast, but oftentimes people will try to pass those trucks. And when folks are pulling out of those retirement communities, they cannot see the vehicles passing the trucks, and there have been some near misses there. I don't know if we haven't had any actual accidents there, but there's been some close calls, so I'm told. But it's a state highway. Also, there has been some concern about the speed limit from 26 into town on 70. So I went through the process last year, met with the state local engineer, the area engineer, and eventually met with the director of Alabama Department of Transportation. They did do a traffic study. We also looked at the traffic light on 25 and Depot Street near the middle school, and they determined that couldn't have a traffic light there. It didn't meet their criteria, nor did they agree to reduce the speed limits. So,
They need to do another study.
huh?
They need to do another study.
Well, they did actually too, because I said the same thing. You need to do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of a data and statistics geek, and the reason they wouldn't lower the speed limit was because they look at the number of vehicles that exceed the 85th percentile. They look at the 85th percentile of the traffic that are exceeding the speed limit. I'll get it right in a minute, but it's something like And at the end of the day, because our traffic count is so small and our city is so small, I personally think that sample size is too small for that 85th percentile to be relevant. Really, really small number of vehicles who are exceeding the speed limit. And so the Department of Transportation response to us is we needed to enforce our existing speed limits. And my response to them was, you know, we're a small town, we have a small police department. We just don't have the resources to park them out there on Highway 70 and Highway 25 to try to do that. And then the director of the Department of Transportation had the audacity to tell me that the only reason, after they had already said we needed to enforce our existing speeds, that we wanted to lower the speed limit was so that we could write more tickets. I probably didn't help our cause when I told him I was offended by that remark. Anyway, we're probably not on each other's Christmas card list. But anyway, so. Then another issue came up, and in fact there was recently some legislation passed in this round of the state legislature because people have complained about the speed limit on 47 coming down to 35 as you come into Columbiana. And there is a municipality somewhere that, and just like we have to get the state's permission to change speed limits and do traffic studies on a state highway, we have to do the same thing on a county road. But there was a recent community where there was a county road going through their town, and the section of that county road was actually maintained by that municipality, and apparently the regulation and law was fuzzy, and so they changed the speed limit on the portion of the county road that was going through their municipality that the city or the municipality itself was maintaining. And the legislature has now said you can't do that. So the bottom line is all the concerns about 25, 70, 47 and whatnot, our hands are tied a little bit. We can continue to work those things, and I just haven't had the time to go recrunch those numbers and go back to the state and try one more time to rebut them and just make sure that I'm permanently off that Christmas card list. I wanted to, we've been talking about paving Center Street. The last meeting we said it was going to be started between the 14th and 16th of June, and naturally we had a lot of rain. As you recall, Center Street's got a real problem with the base underneath the road, and so the preparation of the base involves a process where they mix cement in with the other materials to make that base surface of the road, and naturally they can't apply that when it's raining. It creates a problem. It does set up fairly quickly, so they want to have dry weather. And then be able to put that base down, and it's set up quickly so that they can then go back. And if it does rain subsequently before they get the pavement put on, they still got a good base there. So I know that Alan was talking with the contractor and the city engineer. I don't know if you got any feedback today or not.
Yes, the last time I talked to Chris Moore come up here and everything, he's still at everything. He talked to them and they was looking into trying to get stuff rescheduled and everything.
So hopefully soon, because the folks on Center Street have put up that mess. Okay, for a long time. So Liberty Day is coming up. I know Allie's going to talk about that, but I did want to say a couple of things. So when we have Liberty Day, we have lots of great entertainment, and no exception this year, and we try to do it bigger and better every year. But for the last several years, when we have our concert on Main Street on Friday nights, we have attempted to have more like what I would call a party band, one that's sort of a variety involved. And so no exception this year, we're having this group called Big City Rhythm. And I thought what I would do is just sort of give you a little preview of what of their music, who they are. Come on now.
Stand by launch. Ignite.
All right, so just a little taste of what Big City Rhythm is all about. And then we'll have on our various stages on Main Street and at the Old Mill Square throughout Liberty Day on Saturday, we wrap it up with our headliner event at Shelby County High School Football Stadium. And our headliner is a group called Lanco. Lanco, a few years back, 18 and 19, they were nominated, did not win, unfortunately, but nominated for several ACM awards, one of them being the Best New Country Duo or Group. They would be, I would call them a contemporary country band, if you will. So, little video here on Lanco. Where's the sound? Now, this is a promotional video. You do not have to buy tickets for Liberty Day, okay? So you can come to the stadium and you can see Lanco for free. And then the last thing on my mayor's report is there is a Washington Update luncheon with Senator Tuberville that the chamber is supporting on the 27th of June at the Pelham Civic Complex. It's a luncheon from 11:30 to 1, and Senator Tuberville will come and tell us what's going on. Now, our city is considered a chamber investor, and as a result, we have a table for 6. So I'm putting that out to the city council first, and then once, if the council's can't make it when we don't fill up our 6 seats, we'll go to department heads and city employees. But I'd ask for you to get back pretty quick. The deadline on there says the 23rd, but they give away our seats if we don't call and tell them that we're going to have people coming. So I'd just like for us to have a good showing for Columbiana there, if you can make that.
Will you mention the July 4th council meeting?
Oh, yes, thank you. July 4th council meeting. We're not going to have a council meeting on July 4th, which is a Tuesday, and that's a holiday, and that would be our normal first council meeting of the month. So we will have it the following week, which would be July the 11th, and then we will have our second council meeting on July the 18th. So there'll be 2 council meetings in July back-to-back because of the July 4th holiday. I wanted to bring up, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had another thing that I wanted to bring up. There have been some organizations raising concern about, in the case that I recently read about, it had to do with a county commission here in Alabama. And they're pushing to try to stop a prayer at these commission and city council meetings and things of that nature. And so my personal opinion, and I wanted to get feedback from the council, is I would want to continue that in Columbiana. But I thought maybe we do it before we call the meeting to order. And then they can't say we're doing it during the council meeting. Thoughts on that? I mean, we could continue to do what we're doing. I just fear the contagion of this sort of thing.
I want to continue it during the meeting, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I think you just need to leave it like it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. All right, that was it for me. Any questions? We got that in there twice, I guess. I'm going backwards. How's that happen? All right,
Alright,
Miss Liberty Day.
it is Liberty Day week, so, there are lots of, the schedule is up there. It's gonna be really busy and really fun, and we're not gonna talk about the weather until that day, so. But yeah, 2 full days, Friday night, and then all day Saturday and Saturday night. So it's gonna be a fun time. I hope everybody will be there.
Anything you want to point out on here, or?
I'm trying, like, the mayor showed the bands. I think that we have a really, really good lineup of
Jeff's
bands
running in 5K.
this year,
Today's
yes.
class.
So bright and early Saturday morning, there is a 5K. You can still register if you would like to run. Jeff, you can still register that morning for the 5K. But it's gonna be a great weekend. Trying to think of anything. Car show at the First Baptist Church. First Baptist Church is doing their Hall of Memories again. Free kids activities at the Columbia United Methodist Church parking lot. That's all sponsored by Shelby County Juvenile Court. So we need to be thankful to Judge Aaron Wellborn for sponsoring that. And then the Methodist Church will be open for use of their bathrooms. So that was super nice of them as well. So. This will be a good
The hero stage at Old Mill Square.
Yeah, so we're
You're
doing-
doing the first responder.
Yeah, so the
that-
hero stage at Old Mill Square this year was named for Perry, Officer Perry and Officer Orth, who passed away this past year. And so we wanted to remember them and kind of remember our veterans. So all day long on that stage, pictures of first responders and veterans will play on the video wall on that stage. And so you can still submit your photos, probably up until the last minute, but hopefully before then so that I'm not up all night doing that. But you can still submit those. There's a link on the website and you just attach a photo and their name. But we want to recognize all of our first responders and as many veterans as we can recognize on that stage.
And our Grand Marshal is a local hero.
That's right.
veteran.
Our Grand Marshal this year is Mr. Jack Mundy. Jack was a decorated retired Army colonel and a good man. So he served as the director of the Housing Authority for a really long time until he retired. So, but Jack's a fantastic man. It's gonna be a good week.
This is the best holiday of the year.
Yeah.
And these are
So, yeah, and we definitely want
sponsors.
to recognize our sponsors who make it happen.
They really do.
So,
Well, there's a lot of volunteers who put in a lot of work to make Liberty Day happen. It's not an easy thing to pull off. It takes months and months of planning. And even though we do not charge people for, I mean, there are vendors out there, obviously, that you can purchase food and other things from, but there's no charge for any of the entertainment. There's no charge for the kids' events. And it's because of these sponsors that we're able to do that. So make sure you, if you see any of them or a representative of any of them, tell them thank you. Okay. This is where we open it up to the public. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Glenda Mayfield, and the only thing that I want to talk about as to where I stay at now on 47 Bowie Road, it need a light up there. I mean, my sister up there.
A traffic light. You talking about a traffic light or a street light?
Street light.
Okay.
Street light. And, really truly I had stuff being stole from us over there. Well, me over there, cause that's who's, so long Madison stayed down, but I stayed up from her. But, that's, I mean, once you get to where I stay at and start down towards Miss Lucille Washington, down through there, it's black dark.
Okay.
And I don't wanna come home one day and somebody tap me upside my head, cause they know that I'm the only person that stay in that vicinity right there now.
So I'll take it up with our, I guess I forget what her title is, but the Public Affairs or Community Affairs Representative for Alabama Power. They put up those light poles and those lights, and they have done it in other communities for requests like that. And then the city will just pick up the tab from the power company on that. Anything else we need to do, Alan, that you're aware of?
I'll do a resolution, because I'll have to do a resolution and send it to Alabama Power to let them know that it's been approved. So
Okay.
we can do that at the
All right,
next.
so we'll do a resolution then at the next council meeting. So, did we do that for the last one?
Mhm.
Did we do a resolution? I don't remember that.
For the one at Seal and
Yeah.
Pitts. Mhm.
Okay.
What about the one on Edenwood Road, has that been replaced? The light, it's been down
New
there?
lights up through there.
Huh?
Should have a new light hanging on the pole,
Okay.
'cause they should be
Also,
through with it.
on 47, several months, the Harris Drive, it's been gone.
I've got one new one you should
Okay.
come in.
What is it?
Street
Street
sign.
Yeah.
So Alabama Power recently replaced most of the lights with LED, energy efficient LED lights. So let's find out just to make sure that one got replaced. Okay. And then we'll also go to Alabama Power and see if we can't get one in this particular intersection. Okay.
Thank you for coming, Ms. Mayfield. I said thank you for coming and letting us know.
Well, thank you.
What was that address again?
181
180.
Blue Road.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.